I think in this modern connected world, sleep is one of the most difficult things for us to get right, but I think we really undersell how important it is to getting a good routine and feeling good during your day. So in this video, I wanted to talk about like how I revolutionized my personal sleep routine and went from like unable to sleep at night, sleeping until like 9, 10 a.m. on weekdays to like waking up every morning at 6:30 a.m. and being out the door within 5 minutes of getting up. Like I've completely shifted it, and my mindset around my day-to-day routine is so much better. If you don't know me, my name is Mike, better known as Podcast Mike or Radio Mike, and I spent most of my 20s working on some of the biggest radio shows and podcasts in Australia. Now I have a media business, I also have a YouTube channel, and I also have this second YouTube channel where I'm kind of like talking about my learnings through all of this stuff and all of my 20s and everything like that. And if you haven't already, check out some of my other videos and subscribe to my channel, check out my blog, all the links are down below, so let's get into the sleep stuff. So I guess like during school and throughout most of my 20s, I was not a good sleeper. I honestly just found it really difficult to get to sleep, particularly in my 20s. I think when I like moved out of home and was just like renting and living in share houses and stuff, and that transition to like being an adult and no longer having like any accountability to anyone for your sleep and just being able to stay up as late as you want, which I think is this huge novelty, particularly like when you first leave school. Like you have all this discretionary free time and it's really easy to get into bad habits when you do that. I'm gonna be honest and say that I don't think my sleep has ever been great until very recently. Like I spent, as I said, most of my 20s sleeping in. Like I was such a night person. I would stay up till like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning every night, even on work nights. And I guess because I had more of a freelance or casual work setup with a lot of different jobs, I was able to do that. Like I never really had the traditional 9 to 5, which I guess kind of was a thing that allowed me to get away with having really bad sleep routines. And I didn't value sleep. I always told myself, well, I'm just a night person. Like I do better at night. I stay up, I get stuff done at night, and then I sleep in the morning, and that's fine. But I do think for your own health and your own productivity and your own routine, you should get into a better sleep habit and wake up earlier. It is amazing how good early mornings are. So here's how I like slowly transitioned into, going to sleep pretty much around 9:30, 10 p.m. every night and waking up at about 6:30 every morning, sometimes earlier, sometimes a little bit later. Like it's not perfect, but I think the key thing, and this is something that you probably already know, is just stop bringing your phone into your bedroom. Like that is the number one thing that is ruining our sleep at the moment, I would argue, is just like we are scrolling on our phones on an endless barrage of content on TikTok and Instagram for hours and hours before bed. Here's the thing. That is not how human beings are designed to be. If you are doing that, you have no hope of sleeping well. Like, put your phone away, do whatever you can to get it out of your room, literally charge it somewhere else, and do not have it in your room. And people make up so many excuses for why they can't do this. Like, I've heard it all. Because I used to make them as well. Like, but my phone is my alarm. And if I don't have my alarm, then I won't get up. Or like, nah, I need my phone just in case something goes wrong, like in the night and someone's trying to reach me. Like all of these things are just excuses for you to keep this addictive behavior alive. Like at the end of the day, if you can't get into bed without your phone, you are addicted. And that's okay. Like a lot of people are addicted. The best way to do it is like, okay, it's 8 p.m, I'm gonna put my phone over here and I don't go on my phone for the rest of the day. The thing about Instagram and TikTok and all of these kind of endless buffet style content generators is that they're not designed to end. They're designed to like just keep you there watching for hours and hours, right? Your body and your brain aren't telling you that it's time to start sleeping. Like your body still thinks it's time to be awake, and your brain thinks that too. So your brain is not going to then just be able to drift off and fall asleep. I think my sleep routine in my 20s was like go to bed, go on my phone, scroll on everything, TikTok endlessly for an hour and a half, then like watch TV in my bedroom, like just watch TV or put a movie on, and then it would get to like 1 a.m. and I'd be like, okay, time to go to sleep. And I would not be able to sleep because my brain was so buzzed and wired from like consuming all this stuff and trying to stay awake. So then I would just pick my phone back up and scroll for another half hour. And then I would eventually just like collapse into sleep because my body couldn't take it anymore. But that is not how you want to fall asleep. What I do now, and I'm still working out this to be the best way, is like, phone goes away, I start winding up, I go brush my teeth, water floss, tongue scrape, all of that stuff, because I have always felt like another thing in my 20s that was really bad is like oral hygiene and, you know, waking up with like a really dry mouth that was just really gross. Like, just get into these like simple habits of like doing your oral hygiene. Like, most people brush their teeth, but like floss your teeth, mouthwash, tongue scrape, do all of that. Make sure you're getting any medication you need to take and get that taken. Get into bed, and what I do from there is I just read a book. And I'm sure it is better to read a physical book with a little lamp on, but honestly, like, Kindle is great. I'm gonna be honest, I use my iPad to read books. I use iBooks and I find it really good. I have it on dark mode, I have it on do not disturb, there's no notifications coming up, but I read a book, any book at all. Like, it, you know, in an ideal world, I think I would always be reading like high fantasy and fiction, but I like to kind of jump around, read like autobiographies and memoirs. I like to read non-fiction. I like to read a bit of fiction. Every night, the first thing I do when I get into bed is literally just start reading. Often, I will read for about 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, and at that point, my eyes will already be shutting down. And I think like it's just this thing of you're reading something that just has a natural structure and a natural thing, and you're doing a quiet activity. Yeah, like maybe you could argue it's similar to just looking at your phone, but you're doing something that takes active brain power. Like, you actively have to participate in reading. Whereas TikTok, you can just mindlessly scroll for literally 100 videos and not take anything in. Reading, your brain actually has to do some work, and I think it just starts to tire yourself out. And plus, when you're not really doing anything digital, like granted I use my iPad, but it's so dim and darkened out, and Kindle's even better for that, your eyes just really start to adjust and realize, okay, we're winding down now. We're starting to, you know, finish up for the night. And I also have my lights like start to gradually dim automatically. I've set up home automation, so the bedroom lamp will just start to dim, and it really eases you into sleep. Now, once you make a habit of this, like that'll be an uncomfortable habit at first. You might have like urges for your phone, but once you like really start to turn this into a habit, you will just start to naturally drift off and fall asleep without even trying. And that happens to me all the time. I just drift off, and for a while I was still sleeping in, but I think now, after like a year of this being a habit, or a year and a half, honestly, my body just wakes up at 6 o'clock. I'm just ready to get up, and I don't want to stay in bed. I feel refreshed. I feel like I've gotten my 8 hours. I have just completely rested and recovered from the last day, and I'm ready to start the new day. And then what I do from there is, the first thing I do every morning before checking my phone, before doing anything like that, is I just leave the house without any tech. The only tech I wear is my watch. I'll do another video about how I use my watch for productivity, but the only tech I have is my Apple Watch. I leave the house, no headphones, no anything, and I just walk. Probably for about 15, 20 minutes, but I just try to walk and wake myself up by being out in the world. It's also really serene, like there's not many people around at that time. It's just a nice kind of space to be in. It's relaxing, and you're out in the world before everyone else. And then like often I'm ready to work by like 8 a.m. So I can finish earlier, or I can get like so much more work done than other people because I'm at work like an hour or 90 minutes earlier than everyone else. Those are just some like preliminary tips. Like, I'm certainly not an expert, but that is what has worked for me. Literally just reading before bed and not having my phone in my room at all. Disconnect yourself from your phone. I guarantee you your phone and social media are almost certainly the biggest distractors and problems in your life, and just eliminating them from some parts of your life will really improve the quality of your life. A lot of people ask me like, how do you get so much stuff done? And honestly, it's because I've just deleted all social media apps off my phone, and I don't waste time on them when I don't need them. That's pretty much it from this one. I have more videos and reflections like this coming up, so please hit the subscribe button and comment below what your thoughts are. What are your sleep hacks? Let me know down in the comments. That's pretty much it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.